Thanks again to you both. Good evening and welcome to the show. First tonight, the idea that an Aussie employee who raises legitimate safety concerns at work could then be jailed for doing so might seem impossible. But tomorrow, an Adelaide court will see construction worker Ark Tribe face trial after doing just that. It's a case that might have gone unnoticed by many locally, but it's attracted attention from all over the world, including support from celebrated victims of injustice, Paddy Hill of the Birmingham Six, and the Guildford Four's Gerry Conlon, who was played by Daniel Day-Lewis in the Oscar-nominated drama In the Name of the Father. But here's Graham Archer with Adelaide's very own history-making drama.
Bad laws that treat people unfairly, unequally, there is a strong case that those laws ought to be defied.
If you don't appear, you're facing 6 months jail. If you tell anybody about what was said in there, you're facing 6 months jail. You know, that's a pretty intimidating piece of paper.
People think that it always happens to someone else. Well, here is someone else. Paddy Hill, convicted of bombings he didn't do. Gerry Conlon, convicted of bombings he didn't do. We're sitting in front of you. This happens to ordinary people.
Tomorrow, Adelaide will be the setting for an historic Eureka Stockade-style showdown.
If we did that to people because of their political belief, their religious belief or their race, Australians would be outraged, and justifiably so.
In a humble city courtroom, a momentous battle will begin between the power of the federal government and a tousle-bearded unknown named Ark Tribe.
He's not someone that's ever sought fame or notoriety or this sort of attention.
Yet in union ranks, Tribe is about to be elevated into legendary status.
Should give him another bloody big cheer for it.
He's saluted for standing alone in defiance of the Australian Building and Construction Commission, the government Goliath that John Howard created to regulate the construction industry. Tribe now even has his own song.
Oh, my name it is Ark Tribe, and I ain't gonna talk to you. My freedom flies with a Southern Cross, and there's nothing you can do.
His offence is his refusal to submit to a secret interrogation by the ABCC, where he'd be forced under oath to confess and perhaps dob in his workmates after raising serious safety concerns on site at the Flinders University in 2008.
If I've done something wrong, I'm prepared to cop it. I won't be treated unfairly.
There's no other law that singles out one group of Australians for special treatment in this way and denies them fundamental civil rights.
According to CFMEU boss Dave Noonan, Ark Tribe stands for everyone who values their basic rights.
He's not a union official. He's not even a workplace delegate for the union.
I'm just like every other taxpaying Australian. All I want to do is rock up to work in the morning, working as in a safe environment as I possibly can, and make it home at the end of the day.
When the builder on the site refused to improve safety and work conditions, in frustration, the men stopped work and, using a bit of paper towel, fashioned a makeshift petition.
Everybody signed it on the job, took it into the builder and put it on his desk. Now, the builder sort of ignored that as well.
Safety in the construction industry is pretty serious. It's life and death. We lose, on average, a worker killed every week in Australia's construction industry, and workers do feel strongly about it.
It finally took the state regulator, WorkSafe SA, to step in and force the company to fix the problems, which it then did.
So the fact that they took action to enforce better safety on the site, I think is something they ought to be applauded for, not harassed.
But the workers' actions were deemed to have breached the code, and the ABCC unleashed its coercive powers of interrogation, removing the right to silence. Tribe refused to comply and now faces criminal contempt and possible imprisonment.
Is it fair to say that he raises legitimate safety concerns and now he's facing 6 months in jail?
That's right.
Word of this case has echoed around the world, and though the stage for this drama is tucked away in Adelaide, it's attracted impressive support from those who've experienced coercion in the extreme.
Why should you be called to explain what your role in a protest is if management acknowledges that the protest was justified and that they put right?
Legends of injustice don't come any more revered than Gerry Conlon of the Guildford Four.
For me, Guildford is just pain and terror and fear.
Or Paddy Hill of the Birmingham Six.
Horror and a nightmare that lasted for nearly 17 years.
These men have been forever branded by the crushing brutality of their experience. Reviled for terrorist IRA bombings which killed scores of innocent people, Paddy Hill spent 17 years in jail, Conlon 14. Their ordeals have been immortalised in gripping documentaries and, in Conlon's case, the Academy Award-winning movie In the Name of the Father.
Mr. Conlon, why did you confess to the Guildford bombing?
They beat me, and they threatened to kill my father.
They were never harmed in any way.
And yet their accusers and their judges knew they too were innocents. For Paddy, within days, the police's own informant had told them,
"You've got the wrong people." And he sat there and made a detailed statement to them, and he gave them the names of the two people who made the bombs, where they were made, etc. And he gave the names of the three people who came along an hour later, picked them up, primed them, and planted them.
Yeah.
And they had all that information within 6 days. But by that time, they had tortured us so much that the last thing they could do was let us go.
Gerry Conlon's experience was similar. Just 11 months after his conviction, the culprits confessed. But that made no difference to his appeal judges, who said,
"The four people in the dock who have become known as the Guildford Four, we accept didn't bomb Guildford. We accept that they'd never been there. In the case of Hill and Armstrong, we accept that they didn't bomb Woolwich. But they sent us back to prison for another 12 years after accepting we didn't do the bombings." So if you ask me what this system is, it's corrupt from top to bottom.
It's hard to come close to describing what these men went through. And it might seem a world away from Adelaide and Ark Tribe. But the use of coercive powers to extract statements and confessions touches a very raw nerve, which has brought these two to Adelaide.
Once you start going down this slippery path where they start bringing in or taking bits of maybe Homeland Security in America, bits of Prevention of Terrorism Act, taking them to a new country and employing them against the unions. You know, where do you stop with that Big Brother scenario?
Are you surprised to hear that this would happen in Australia?
Oh, I'm very surprised. I thought Australia was more forward and I thought Australia had more sense.
And the powers of the ABCC do replicate elements of anti-terrorism legislation and seem incredibly heavy-handed for dealing with industrial disputes.
Now, people that are accused of serious violent crimes, murder, bank robbery, rape, unspeakable crimes, have the right to silence. And yet construction workers accused of taking industrial action or going to a union meeting don't have those rights. And this is something that every Australian should be concerned about.
Strangely, it appears the company responsible for the safety lapses in the first place has not been subject to any form of penalty or inquisition.
The ABCC has failed to prosecute even one employer in the construction industry since it existed.
So, with the battle lines drawn, will Ark Tribe be cast as a latter-day Ned Kelly or a new hero of the Southern Cross?
More rights are being taken away that people went and lost their lives for, people went and fought for their countries for.
There's no doubt that if Ark Tribe is jailed, there will be an angry response from construction workers right around Australia.